good evening. Welcome to the 12-Man Podcast, live on Facebook, The Red, all the places you can hear your podcasts, Amazon, Spotify, Deezer, Apple, all the good places you can hear us during your working week. You got me, Steve Jackson, I'm your host, as usual. Got Mr. John Cutler with us. Even Cut, you all right?
Yeah, I'm good, yeah, evening.
Are you sure? You don't sound it.
Yeah, I'm fine.
I know we're going to talk about a very drab subject for the next half an hour, but, let's start cheerful. But good. Glad you're all right. Recovered from last night?
Yeah, I am now.
Yeah. Yeah. For anyone that doesn't know, Lennox Lewis tried to knock him out. And then we've also got Mr. John Donovan. Evening, JD.
No, boys, all right?
Yeah, we're doing good. How are you?
Oh, good, yeah. Yeah, fine.
Good. So, yeah, we're going to talk about... What are we going to talk about? We're going to talk about the starting 11 from Saturday. There was something missing. We all know what it was, but we'll talk about why and the what fors. I suppose we better talk about the nice minutes in between. Yeah. But you all knew it was coming. It's Coventry. We can't beat Coventry. Anytime they come up the North East, they love it up here. So, and then we'll preview a very, very big week. We've got a big week coming, not just for the football club, but I think the way the conversation is going to go for Michael Carrick as well. Michael Carrick's got a big week ahead of him, so we'll talk about that. We'll go from there. But before we start, are we both all right?
Spot on.
Yeah, I think I'm a bit better than John. from tales that I gathered regarding last night, but we'll not go any further.
No, it's not football chat. I mean, if it was, I mean, if you want to fill the blanks in, we went to see Lennox Lewis last night, didn't we?
We did.
Yeah, spoke about his career and stuff. It was all right.
It was good.
Stuff we pretty much knew about, but yeah, I saw all the show. Someone didn't, but that's none of my business.
You didn't make the final count then, John.
Just for the record, I didn't get shot out. I was just knocking a few heads out. That's all. I didn't do no dodgy. It's all good.
And for anyone that's watching that hasn't seen Lennox Lewis, because he's got another show in Gateshead in a few days, ignore what he's just said. It's actually quite good. So, yes, but let's get stuck into the football anyway. Right, JD, we knew what was coming when Coventry came up here. We never beat Coventry. If you wanted the definition of a bogey team for Middlesbrough Football Club, it's Coventry City. Team comes out, couple of changes. The big one, I mean, I know Aaron comes in for Dykesdale, but we pretty much said that last week, didn't we? We thought that was coming. The big one, though, Ben Doak. No Ben Doak. What did you make of that?
Well, obviously, I didn't see it coming. It was a surprise. Also, Vandenberg not making the starting 11. And I'll be honest with you, I was a little bit worried. We're just a different team without Ben Doak. I mean, he's only been here 9-10 games, and yet we're heavily relying on him because he's our biggest threat. And so to see the team sheet, see him missing, and Isaiah Jones starting, I thought it was a boost for Coventry. It didn't sort of it didn't do anything to shall we say prepare me for the game. I was a little bit disappointed when I heard the team news, if I'm honest.
Yeah, I've got to admit I was. I mean, first thing I did was post the questions. You know, as you would, you want to find out what the crack is, what's going on. What I heard, Cuts. I won't say my source because I don't want to throw him under the bus. I don't want to. Rested for fatigue because he felt a bit of a niggle in his hamstring because of fatigue. We both work 40-hour weeks. right? I'm not saying what we do is harder than a footballer, right? I'm not. But if you rang your manager and said a bit of fatigue, what would your manager say to you?
Well, I couldn't possibly say what he'd say to me because we get shut off the air. But listen, in his interview on Thursday, and he was talking about looking after him, and he had a big injury last year and he's played 9 games. I knew then he wasn't going to play. But for me, if he's got a slight pulled hamstring or a tightening in his hamstring, say that. Don't say fatigue. Just say he's got a tight hamstring and everyone be fine. But at the end of the day, it's still early in the season, but we are desperate to start picking up points at home to get to where we need to be. And to do that, you have to pick your best players. So if it is fatigue, put him on for 60 minutes and bring him off. Like I say, I can take it. If he says he's got a hamstring or whatever tight muscle, fair enough. But I'm not having the fatigue one. It's a load of nonsense.
Yeah, I mean, that's what did me, to be honest. But go on, JD, I'll let you carry on.
Yeah, I was just going to say, we mentioned last week about all the testing that goes on with players during the week. And if it was identified by the doctor, the sports scientist, whoever at the club, that, you know, he was shown signs of tiredness in any particular like muscle part within his body, then it would have been a big risk if we'd have played him. And I'm sure we would have preferred him not to play and recover fully than take a chance that he does more and longer term damage to his hamstring and have him out for several weeks. So as frustrating as it was for me, and as disappointing as it was for everybody, when they saw the team sheet, it might not have been Carrick's decision. It might not have been the players' decision. But we have to take it on the chin. Somebody missing out leaves an opportunity for another player, and that was Isaiah Jones. And as we saw on Saturday, unfortunately, he didn't really grasp that opportunity. So Ben Doak missing was a big blow, and I think Mark Robbins alluded to his joy of hearing the news in his post-match press conference.
Yeah, he did. We'll go through what he said after the game in a little bit, and we'll talk about Izzy Jones as well, because his drop-off has been alarming, which is a bit concerning. But to go back to Ben Doak, I mean, I think what Coach said is right. If the club just comes out as a collective and say it's got a bit of a tight hamstring, no one argues with it. No one says, well, tough, get on with it. You know, you just say fair enough. You know, you don't want to overdo it. But to say fatigue when you've had a week of pure getting stuck into training and getting ready for the game, like I said, I'm not saying, you know, it was right, it was wrong, whatever. Probably, like you said, JD, it's going to help with his longevity going forward. I think it just left a lot of bitter taste in fans' mouths when they heard that. You know, it reminds me a lot of, remember when Sterling got called up for England a few years ago and said, can I be dropped because I'm tired? And the reaction that got. That's how I felt it was on Saturday. I thought, because it's such a crucial player as well, which you saw during the game, we missed so much. Their left back must have been laughing about what he saw on Saturday.
If he plays tomorrow, do you believe he had a tight hamstring and it's gone in 3 days?
No.
More likely that they've rested him because he's tired, or they think he's tired. And then you've got people saying, "Oh, maybe Liverpool are telling him we've got to manage his game time." Load of nonsense. We're in charge of him at the moment. We're the ones who've loaned him. We need the 3 points, so you play your best players. Like say, if he's out tomorrow and he has got a hamstring injury, fair enough. I'll completely accept it. But I'm not having a fatigue thing. He didn't look pagged when he came off at Norwich City or injured in any way, because he was running that full back ragged. So unless it's something that's picked up in training or they're working too hard in training because the injuries we're getting and serious injuries are mental as well. Not
Yeah.
just him. Look at the other players that are injured and they're out forever.
Well, yeah. I mean, want to stick out? I know he's your best mate, but Dale Fry, where's he?
Well, he was back on the bench. He was on the bench, wasn't he, on Saturday?
Yeah, but where's he been? No words, no word about this is what he's been suffering with or anything like that. It's just been a very, very quiet, which I like because not a lot gets out, but there's got to be ickle bits and pieces coming to the fans to say, this is what happened with him. It's not just a case of no, we're not telling you.
Well, I think it's
there used to be. Sorry, John. I was just going to say there used to be a page on the club's website, didn't it, about injury updates?
Yeah,
but that seems to have sort of disappeared now. So yeah, we don't hear anything. Now, maybe it's a club are being coy with regards injuries and the severity of them, but we should at least know of how the rehab's going and possibly what time they are expected back on the training pitch and back in the first team squad. And then if they have a setback, we can be told again.
Yeah,
it's like the Force situation. For me, how he didn't get on the bench on Saturday, I don't know, because he's played a couple of under-21 games.
Yeah, he did.
Seems to be in and around the fold back in training. And then I think Carrick said today in his pre-match presser for tomorrow that he would have been okay to be on the bench. He's back training properly. How is he not getting on the bench when Dork's out? It's a strange one, that, for me, how he's not even getting on the bench.
Yeah, there's a few strange decisions at the moment, which I'm struggling to understand a little bit. I mean, he said in his presser today, didn't he? It's the pressure he's receiving at the moment, is because that's what you get when you got a good squad. We know we're capable. But for me, it's what he said after the game. I mean, I'll go into it a little bit more. We have to start games better. You're not kidding me. But, I mean, we'll go through the game. Now, first thing I want to point out, right, we're very fair on here, aren't we? Right, let's all agree. We're all very fair. John Don, tell me what Hayden Hackney was doing to do the same rash decision within 10 minutes, and that's his game done. You don't do... I was struggling with it. I mean, you saw on Saturday, I was struggling with it. You talk me through your thought process on it.
Well, I told you as soon as you got that first booking that we'll regret that.
Yeah.
But I didn't mean in this game. I was just talking about an accumulation of cards. Little did I realise that a few minutes later he'd go and get a second booking. But to me, it was petulant. It was purely born out of frustration. He was given the ball, he miscontrolled it, and he had it stolen away. And to try and win the ball back, he clearly fouled the Coventry player. Like I say, I thought it was petulant, stupid, born out of frustration, whatever. But it cost us, didn't it? It cost us daily this game. And he's got a lot of experience. It's not as if it's his first season. It's not as if it's his first few games as a regular starter. He should have known better. I just thought he was silly. Now, whether or not he could have just got a warning for that one, because I can't remember anything that he'd done previous to that I thought, that I thought that challenge warranted a yellow, but he didn't. He got a yellow, and then a few minutes later, he stupidly went into a rash challenge and got himself another booking, and that really sort of made the day harder for us. We'd already been under the cosh. They'd had 2 goals and rightly disallowed for offside, but they'd had two goals called offside. One was a fantastic training ground move from a free kick. Very clever. And they started far better than us. They closed everything down. They were really sort of up for it. And we just give them a greater initiative by getting ourselves down to 10 men. It was a silly thing to do.
It was. I mean, I could still come to you about your thoughts, but John Donne's absolutely right. It's not his first few games. It's not his first season. This is a lad that's now he gets given the captain's armband. He's supposed to be one of the leaders, as you may, in the group. I've seen the tackle back, the second one. Yes, he got the ball, but he's left his studs in, and you can't do that. I just couldn't believe his thought process to lead him with his studs. I struggled with it. I'm a big fan of Hayden Hackney as well, but Saturday I really, really struggled with him.
Absolutely. Before I say what I'm going to say next, I'm going to say I'm also a big fan of Hackney's. I think he needs to improve his consistency a bit, but he's a good level championship player for sure. So I've said a few times in the past, he gets yellow cards for pulling players back within the first 10 minutes. He's been an accident waiting to happen all season, and it was just a matter of time before he got a red card. Let's hope he learned his lesson, because there was people saying the referee shouldn't have sent him off for the second. It was stupidity. John used the right word. It was stupid. He's already said he's been captain of this club this season. You've got to take a bit of responsibility as a player and know what you can and can't do. It was absolutely stupid. There's no excuses for him. And he let the fans down. He let the rest of the players down. And I'm sure he's let himself down.
He has. The fact that he's had to walk in the dressing room with 22 minutes on the clock, we're a quarter of the way through the game. I couldn't get my head around this. There's a lot, like you said, there was a lot of people saying, well, he's got the ball. It doesn't matter. You don't have to wear the captain's armband to be a leader on the pitch. You're supposed to be one of those players that other players look to. I think Aidan Morris looks to him a little bit as well, because he's still making his way, in England. Yes, he's been an absolute sensation, but he's still settling in. He's still only been here a couple of months. He's looking for Hackney to a bit of guidance. That was just completely reckless, stupid, and you both have used the word petulant. It's something you'd expect a young kid to do, not someone that's captained this football club. And whatever criticism came from after that, I couldn't say no about. I couldn't say, "Oh no, you're being harsh." I couldn't, because it was just so poor, and I was so disappointed.
Yeah, I hate yellow cards for anything soft. Like John said, he has done it for pulling on people's shirts. If you're going to get a yellow card, then it's got to be warranted, and by that I mean not warranted by the referee, but you've gone in hard to win the ball or to prevent the opposition moving forward. If you're one of the last men, I fully understand that, and I'll take that all day long. But daft ones, stupid ones, like we saw for Hayden's first one on Saturday, it's not acceptable. And not only now has he got a 1-game ban, he's now on the verge of another ban with an accumulation process. We can't afford it. We can't afford to lose Hayden Hackney for several games. We can't.
I'll tell you, the harshest lesson he's going to learn here is we know what Johnny will do when he'll come in. The harshest lesson is, how is he going to get back in that team once Hackney starts playing?
I bloody hope so, John. I really do.
Once Howson starts playing, is Hackney going to get back in? Because for me, we know Howson every week is a 7 out of 10. Sometimes quite often higher, but he's never lower than a 7. So if we start going on a run, which we all are expecting us to do at some point soon, because the squad should be doing it,
yep.
Hackney's not going to get back in, and that'll be his biggest lesson. A stupid red card is going to cost him his place in the team for the bulk of the season.
Well, yeah, but we need all of our squad to to stay out of trouble, because we're losing players through injuries and other problems. And we need the bulk of our squad to try and avoid silly little bookings like that accumulate suspensions at the end of it. You know, we've got some players who are long in the tooth, like Luke Ayre and like Johnny Housen. They won't be able to go through a full season, so we have to use our squad. We have to use our squad.
Well, I'm glad you mentioned about the squad there, because I say it every week about if you play well, you deserve to keep the shirt.
Mm-hmm.
So Dykesdale must have been absolutely fuming when he was left out of that team on Saturday.
Mm-hmm. I said that.
No fault of Ayling, but Dykesdale did well at Norwich, and then he's getting brought on after 70 minutes to come on and play 20 minutes when you've performed. He must be thinking to himself, it doesn't matter how I could be prime Cafu here, and I'm not going to keep my place. That's not sending the right message to me out to the rest of them squad players. This is me number one. It doesn't matter how well you play, you're not going to get in, barring injury and suspension. That's not right for me either.
No, you're absolutely right. It's you know, we were saying last week where we were singing Dykesdale's praises. I thought he was fantastic at Norwich. I really did. And the part he played in the second goal, was brilliant. His run, you know, he dragged the defender away from Doak, made that run, and paid that crucial pass on to Conway. So, you know, it must have been a right kick in the teeth for him to be dropped. And you're saying about Housen as well. I thought for the time he was on the pitch until he was moved to centre back, I thought he was brilliant in middle of midfield. I thought he bossed it brilliantly. I thought he was absolutely brilliant.
I'll tell you what he did do, and it got the fans right up. He made an absolute crunching tackle on the halfway line.
Yeah.
We haven't got players who do that. That's something we've said that we've missed. And look at the reaction from the fans, just seeing someone go in, blood and guts, thunder, 100% tackle committed. Great. Long may it continue. I hope he comes in as an absolute stormer up for the next few games and doesn't lose his place.
Yeah. I mean, getting back to the game, obviously Coventry started really, really well. But then we got back into it a little bit. Hackney had a shot that the keeper saved low down at the post. McGree had a great chance on his left foot that he should have done better with. He should have hit the target, but he knocked it into Doggy Market car park, I think. And the game was becoming even after Coventry's good start, or fairly even, and then it all changed when Hackney got himself sent off. It was a tough game already. Like you say, Coventry have this sort of like curse over us, don't they? And we'd had personnel change that sort of like made the crowd a little bit uneasy at the start. But after their bright start, Coventry, I thought we sort of slightly got back into the game. Then Hackney's red card, and from then it was Coventry all day long. Far better team.
Yeah, I can't disagree with that, to be honest. I mean, the most frustrating part, it was the timing of the first goal as well. It was just before half time, the first goal. Yeah. I just felt we were at that point in the game where if we can get towards half time now, get in the changing rooms at 0-0, and then you can come out and have a bit of, you're a bit rejuvenated. You've got a bit more life to you because you think, well, we've got halfway through. We're still 0-0. You know, they've shot a lot at us because they did. I mean, when the goal hit, it was coming. It's a cracking header. Now the end could do about it. I'm not going to try and pick apart their goal. I'm going to swiftly fast forward because we had really good spell in the second half. We had a really good 20 minutes.
Can I just say about the first goal? It was bread and butter, wasn't it? You know, it was from a corner. The corner was cleared. It came back out, and it was just knocked into the danger area. But the Coventry centre half was totally unmarked, 6 yards out. An unchallenged header was always going to score. Yeah. So disappointing because he was free. There was nobody around him. It was really disappointing. And like you say, the timing made it so much worse.
It just sucked the life out of the crowd, didn't it, as well as more? Because
Yeah.
we could all fit, if we can get ourselves to half time, like I said, we're still very much, game on kind of thing. I'm not saying at 1-0 you're completely out of it, but you have a bit more of a feel, especially when a man down. Then we get into the second half, and we all said at half time we should have made the change at half time. We should have brought on Latte, got some pace at them, because they had the extra man. They were playing a very high line. Latte could have got in behind easily. Conway was down to play out wide. The runs he was making, he's I don't know why he's better running out wide. Then there was a lot of talk in the stadium about the timing of the changes, because the timing of the changes for me, I'll say my bit first before I let you two have at it, was too late. Way too late for me. I thought 10 minutes, have a go, and then just mix it up a bit. Make the changes. Just bring a bit more life to the squad. Fresh your legs in. Jones had a shocker Saturday. He had a real shocker, and I was really hoping if he's going to step in, he had to make a name for himself again, build himself back up. But his confidence is shot. His passing wasn't great. His running wasn't great.
It just showed. His first touch, Steve, was to knock it out the touch, and you could hear the crowd sort of groan, and that won't have helped him.
No.
But yeah, he didn't have a very good afternoon at all. But I must admit, I was surprised of the change when Hackney was sent off. I agree with bringing Howson on, but I wouldn't have took Azaz off. Azaz has been one of our better creative chances for us. I thought we should have took Jones off, or I thought we could have took Borges off and went 3 at the back. So I was surprised when Azaz was hooked when the sending off happened. Yeah, and then, like you said, at half time, we should have brought Latte on.
Yeah, I can see why he made the change to bring Azaz on. Not because it's Finn Azaz. I think it was more position-wise. It was obviously wanting to put the 2 back in midfield. Someone said behind me he shouldn't have brought on House, and he probably took Morris off. And I thought, well, that's just one of the most stupid things I've ever heard in my life. I can see why he did it, to keep the 4-4-1 kind of stability. Because he went to 3 at the back, didn't he, in the second half? He brought Howson back, brought Dijksteel on, and went for 3 at the back, which for me just opened us up. I thought after that
it did down the flanks. Down the flanks it did. Yeah, absolutely.
Because they played. That's how they started. And they started with 3 at the back. Simon, who came on last week, he said they've adopted a 3 at the back, which has really helped them to bring in the likes. I know Ellis Sims didn't play on Saturday, but to help someone alongside Hadji Wright, who I thought had another brilliant game. I thought he's a right bully, a striker. I don't know where they got him from, but he's a right bully. But the second goal, another one, John Don, that Simon said to us. Simon said, Sakamoto came on, didn't he? And he said he's one of the players that's a real danger. And that ball in, undefendable, absolutely undefendable. Like, there's now we can do about that.
He had all the time in the world to do it, though. There was nobody near him, nobody within 5 or 6 yards. So he had all the time in the world to look up and to curve that ball right along, just inside the 6-yard box. The first striker missed it, and Hadji Wright was on his own at the back post just to knock it in. The ball was good, but we should have had somebody closer to him to try and limit where he could put it. But he had all the time in the world to choose his spot. It was a poor goal for us to concede. I mean,
conceding wise, it was very, very poor. But they said the ball was an absolute beauty. I thought you can't defend that ball in. It's just stop the cross, stop the crossing. It doesn't happen, does it? But I mean,
we could take a leaf out of their book. To be fair, I thought their set plays.
they're brilliant.
Corners, they were whipping really good balls into box, and I don't know what's happening with our corners, but we can't beat the first man. Apart from when we played that little short one, I think it was to Boggs. It was a decent little move, but every corner from us is hitting the first man that we're trying to get in the box. Doesn't matter who's taking them, but their deliveries into the box were excellent. Like John said, you can look at it from their point of view, great ball into the box, but no marking. And
No.
I know we were a man down, but even at a man down, you've still got your back four and you've got the midfield in front of you. You're just losing a forward, so there's no excuse to be leaving players free in the box. I know it happens; it's football, it happens. But there's no excuses. You can't just say that was down to the fact we were down to 10 men, because it wasn't.
No, you're absolutely right. It's I mean, you said there about the set piece we had. I thought you're absolutely right. That was it. Second half, Borges at the front post.
Yeah,
I thought he was in. I thought he did it with that much. I thought he scored. I thought, oh my god! I thought Daly was going to jump.
And it was only 1-0 at the time, wasn't it?
Yeah.
We were right in the game at that point. It was that 10-15 minute spell where we really pushed him back.
Yeah, we did. And that possibly, if we didn't bring Lath on at half time, which obviously we didn't, that would have been the time to introduce him, just to turn the screw a little bit more. But yeah, that didn't happen. And the second goal came after a couple of substitutions, and that ended the game, really. Second goal ended the game.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I mean, Daly's tried to join us, but you can't. So he's on Facebook. His point is exactly the point we're trying. We're always second to make changes. House and sub, obviously, House and sub. That was forced upon us. Carrick's in-game management is costing us. He made the 3 subs, and we conceded 2 goals. Exactly the same thing happened at Norwich. And to add on top of that, we were second to making them changes. They brought the players on that effectively finished the game. I mean, Sakamoto was one of the players that brought on, and he whipped that ball in, but effectively, like you said, finished the game. But is it time to talk about his in-game management? Are we going back again to that experienced head behind him? I know we keep mentioning it, but are we really starting to see this costing us? Because there's no one behind him to say, 10 minutes in, 15 minutes in the second half, is it time to make that sub? Is it time to make that change? Can we make that positive influence ourselves without having to wait for the opposition to do it?
The thing is, we've seen how well we can play. Mm-hmm. We've seen how awful we are at times, but we've seen how well we can play. We're a bloody good side. But we're forever giving ourselves, forever making the job difficult for ourselves. Going behind, getting a man sent off on Saturday, gifting stupid goals, individual errors. We're just giving ourselves. We're beating ourselves at times. We're the opposition's sort of extra man. It's self-destruction, and it's bloody frustrating, because we are a good team. We've seen how good we can play against Sheffield United. We beat Stoke well. We beat West Brom. For 70-odd minutes, we were in control of the game at Norwich and Watford. But you look at the league table, you look at the amount of goals we scored, you look at the amount of points we've accrued, and it's just not good enough. With the ambition that the chairman has, and that he's given in the way of transfer kitty, he won't be happy now. Gibbo will not be happy now, just like every other fan.
No, absolutely right. Go on, Coach.
Well, personally, I know you're not talking about making a change, but I wouldn't at the moment. But there's already murmurings starting about people being unhappy about Carrick, whether it's
there is
tippy-tappy football or his substitutions or no plan B. We're hearing the same things, and they're getting stronger and stronger and stronger. Now, for me, absolute failure this year is not getting in the playoffs. I still think they can make top 2, but it's absolute. It would be failure if we don't make the playoffs. If we don't make the playoffs, I don't expect Michael Carrick to be here next season.
Mm-hmm.
And in the last few years, we've seen that Steve's not afraid to make changes when he thinks it's the right time, whether it's November, October. We've seen it in the last few years. Now, if things don't improve and they don't improve quickly, it's only going to increase the pressure on him. Ultimately, it's his job to get performances on the pitch. And yes, we have been brilliant for hours in games, but we're nowhere near as consistent as we should be. And this squad's way off points-wise what we should be as well. And that all falls on one man. So whether he likes it or not, or fans don't like it, there is pressure mounting on him. But he's the one who has to solve it, and he has to solve it quick.
Yeah. This week is massive for Michael Carrick. Huge. You know, QPR in the bottom three, Luton just above the bottom three. Now, I said on last week's podcast that I wanted to see 9 points in the next 3 games. Well, one of them's gone, one of them's lost. But you know, we need 6 points, and then at least we go into the international break still hanging around the playoff places. If we drop further down, because we're only 6 points from where Luton are, we're not far away. If we drop further down, you did right in what you say, John. The calls for a change of manager will grow increasingly on social media. And I like Carrick. I don't want to see him go. I want to see him have success at Middlesbrough. But ultimately, it's results. It's not always about performances. I've said this before. It's not all about performances. It's results. And we need to get results, whether they're scrappy, ugly, dirty, whatever. Just get some results, points on the board, and then go from there.
I mean, if we, I don't think we will, but say we lose the next 2 games, do I think he'll make it through the international break? I probably don't, to be honest. If we lose the next 2 games, I don't think he'll get through the international break.
Well, I was just about to bring that point in, because he's lost the excuse of, you know, remember what a lot of fans were saying a few weeks ago? Well, we started better than we did last season. Take that off the table now. We're 2 points worse off now than we were last year. Take that straight off the table. It's gone. We said a few weeks ago, this block of games between international breaks were what he's going to be massively judged on. This is the ones where we really had to kick into gear and put a run together. And that comes back, you know, everybody fans going to look at the end of the Luton game at this block of, what is it, 6 games we've had in that little period. Yeah. We're nowhere near where we should be, which is so sad, because I'm like JD. I absolutely love Michael Carrick. I think he's brilliant.
Me too,
yeah, and you. I'm sorry, I'm not taking it away from you. But you know, it's I don't want to see a guy lose his job. I mean, Timmy Leach has just come up on Facebook and said, if we're not in with a shout around Christmas, he won't see the end of the season. Yeah. And you know what? You know, when you have them little arguments between fans, and you're like, oh, don't talk daft. I don't see that as a daft comment. I really don't. It's
definitely not.
He's both said it. Gibbo's not afraid to pull the trigger when he needs to. And this is not us saying pull the trigger. He's not afraid to do it, though. He's not. And there will come a point where we could be struggling to get towards top 6. Luckily, we're only 3 points off at the moment. You know, this time next week, we could be talking 2 wins in the bag and we're in there. And you're like, well, actually, it's not too bad now, is it? You know, that's what football does. But as we stood right now, I'm struggling to see a consistent run coming. And that's a bit scary when you want your team in the top 6. I don't know if anybody agrees with that.
Go on, Kurtz.
We're saying here that we're underachieving. Michael Carrick in his press conferences says what a good strong squad we've got, and it's hard to pick the first 11. So he agrees with what we're saying. He knows we're underachieving. So therefore, if we do get beaten in the next 2 games, I bet he knows himself he's under pressure. Yeah. This squad is far better than the position states.
Big time.
Yeah. What was your expectation at the start of the season when you saw the squad, and then shortly after the season started, we added the likes of Conway? What was your expectation?
I said top 2 at the start of the season. To be honest with you, John, I don't see any reason why. What are we off on Saturday? We were 5 points off second. With how inconsistent we've been, I still don't see any reason, if they get it together and start playing how they should be, why we can't make top 2. I'm not saying we will, but I don't see why we can't. So
I think that's.
Go on.
I was just going to say, I think that's where a lot of the anger within some fans comes from. Is we were expecting better, weren't we? We were expecting far better than the results that we've seen.
We've showed it in certain games this year when we've played football, and everyone's been praising the kind of football. No, there's not one team in this division who can live with us when we're on it, but we're not on it enough.
No.
We've showed we've played some fantastic football at times. If you were a Premier League fan and you tuned into that Norwich game for an hour last week, you'd have thought, bloody hell, these play some good football. Attacking football, threat up front, decent at the back, knock it about, lovely to watch on the eye. There should be nowhere near where they are now, nowhere near.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no,
I
can't.
Our home form is worrying. We've got to improve our home form.
That's the bit.
You know, what is it? 8 games, 7 in the league, 1 in the cup, and we've scored 7 goals, or is it 8 goals, and conceded 13. It's just not good enough. Your home has got to be a fortress. You've got to pick up most of your points at home. We currently are, but we've only picked up 11 out of 21. Not good enough.
Well,
not good enough at all.
Well, that's it. I don't know if Cuts is froze or he's just pulling the same fit. I don't know. But you're absolutely right. The most concerning bit here, you look at our last promotion winning team. How long did it take us to concede 13 at home all season? We must have been kicking into February, March. There he is. Back into February, March, April for us to get towards the 13 goal mark to concede at home. Mm-hmm. You know, that's what builds good promotion winning teams. Solid at the back and they can goal up front. We're not scoring enough. We're conceding way too many. We're creating way too many chances for our conversion rate. Every fan you speak to in this league says there's one team that surprised me this year. It's Middlesbrough. Middlesbrough are absolutely nowhere near where they should be. Look at the football they play. Look at the chances they create. We're top of every stat possible, apart from the most important ones, and that's the bit that's killing us. And you know, Timmy Leach just come up again. Be as good as you want, but results dictate whether you keep your job or not.
Of course it does.
Absolutely,
we've said this all along. We would all like to marry performance and results. Only the top teams can do that on a consistent basis. We've just got to get results consistently, whether that's scrappy wins, ugly draws. Just do that. Just accumulate the points, and you just got to fight your way out of this league.
You absolutely do. You absolutely do. Mick's just come up there and said, you know, he completely agrees with everything we're saying. And he's brought the point, can anyone tell him what Woodgate does or what input he has on the team? That takes me back to the experience behind him. I just don't know if he's got enough behind him to point him in the right direction, because I looked across on Saturday, because quite frankly, I couldn't watch the pitch anymore. I thought, I can't watch that anymore. Carrick looked a very lonely man, stood on the sideline. He looked a very, very lonely man. And I keep going back to it, right? And fans will go, oh, will you stop banging on about it, right? How often did Aaron Danks leave Carrick by himself? Wasn't often. It was always something every 5-10 minutes. Just give a little mention, give a little something. Like I said, he could have been saying to him, are you having peas or beans with your tea tonight? I don't know. I haven't got a clue. He was still in his ear. You know what I mean? I don't see Woodgate doing that. I don't see Ledbetter doing that. I don't see Graham Carrick doing that. I just want someone behind him that's just going to point him in the right direction, because he's got all the skill set. He's got everything about him that's going to do the job.
Yeah, well, I think it would have been peas because Beans would have stained his beard. So
I don't know how to react to that.
The yeah, going back to what we said earlier.
Yeah.
We look fantastic at times
Yeah,
in
we do.
games, but then we let ourselves down by, like you say, send-ins off, individual mistakes that the opposition always seem to score from, missed penalties, missed sitters. You know, it can't be bad luck all the time. It can't be bad luck all the time. We've got to start picking up points. I'm going tomorrow, and I'd love us to play QP out of the park with some fantastic football, bang 2 or 3 goals in, and come home happy. But I would not be asked if they battered us for 90 minutes and Dieng had a world-class game and kept everything out, and then we go up the far end and pinch one, an undeserved win. That wouldn't bother me. I just want to come home with 3 points.
Ultimately, that's all that matters. Performances don't matter. It's about picking points up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
That's where we are at the moment. It's ideally you want to be doing both at the same time. You want to be blending your way into the season, playing beautiful football, picking up the points, and moving up the table in a nice little manner. But we're too zigzaggy. We're too up and down. We're too inconsistent. We're all over the shop, and I think that's the most frustrating thing for fans. Like, I went into Saturday. Obviously, I was a bit nervous about Saturday's game, but after going to Norwich and seeing that, I thought the capability we've got is huge. Because for 70 minutes of that Norwich game, we absolutely ripped them to pieces. And that's a fellow top 6 team. You know what I mean? It's.
but that's the thing as well. You look at Norwich. They've got a calendar year, haven't they? Unbeaten at home.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what you want. Even if you can't, you sort of get a full year. You still want to pick up a vast majority of the points that you earn from home games. Keep your season ticket holders happy, because there was a lot unhappy. There was a lot left early, and that's their prerogative. And the club have got to think that we've got to get our home form right, because it'll only be a few months' time when they're sending us emails regarding season ticket renewals. So we've got to start picking up points at home.
Yeah, absolutely right. I hope these emails are approved this time, and not sent to the ones we got last year. They were absolutely horrendous.
Oh yeah, cold as ice then, weren't they?
Oh, they were awful, weren't they? But you're absolutely right. It's going to get towards that point where the club's going to start asking you to pay another 500, over 500 quid out to watch us play football again next season.
Mm-hmm.
End of the day, it's a product. That's what it's a season ticket. It's a product. We see it as fans. We're like, well, we're just going to go because we love it. But they sell it as a product, and the product they're selling at the moment, it's just not sustainable. We're all expecting a bit better.
The thing is, there's fans who probably are unable to really afford it without making sacrifices. And that sacrifices seem worthwhile if you're playing well and you're winning. Seems less worthwhile if you're putting on performances like we did against Bristol City, like we did against Coventry. So club have got to be careful.
You do. You're absolutely right. I mean, you can't sit there and go, well, I had to make a bit of sacrifice on the Lecker this week, but it's all right because we had an XG of 2.4 this week. So, and whoopee, that's not going to do out for you. It's end of the day. Points make prizes, and There's not enough points on the table at the moment for what we have. Every team in this league knows it. We all know it. I'm not going to lie. I'm not pressing the panic button, but I'm a bit nervous. I've never been nervous like this early before, but I'm a bit nervous. There's too many teams that are ready to pounce. You know what I
Like
mean?
I said, like you said, it's a big week for Carrick because
Massive.
you know, yeah, the two results coming up. If they're not if they're not too favourable, we'll have a whole international break where social media will be chewing over everything and the calls for a change will increase.
Absolutely. Go on, coach.
Ultimately, Steve will have seen when that second goal went in on Saturday, and there's thousands of unhappy fans streaming out.
Oh God, yeah.
He doesn't just see the future as Michael Carrick. He sees the long-term future, and ultimately, you've got to keep the punters happy. It's not a good sign seeing thousands of fans storming out the stadium. John's mentioned Bristol City at home. They hadn't won away from home, beat us. Coventry hadn't won away from home, beat us. We haven't been good enough at home for, well, pretty much the whole of last season. We weren't great at home either. It was under Archer in that when we were brilliant at home. You've got to pick up the bulk of your points from home, keep the home fans happy first and foremost, get up that table, which we are. The players have made no secret of it when they came in. We're going for promotion. The manager's made no secret of it. The chairman, by putting his money in his pocket again, has made no secret of it. So we can come on here and we can say, oh, yeah, we're about the same level of points as last season. That's not what any of us are expecting. Not the fans, not the players, not the management, and certainly not the chairman. So ultimately, it all falls on Carrick. Whether that's unfair or not, it falls on him. He's the manager. It's his job to get the results and get us playing how we've seen in spells consistently. And if he doesn't do that, he's not going to be here. Whether we like it or not, he's not going to be here.
Yeah.
The club will be here a lot. The club will be here a long time after me and you, and a long time after Michael Carrick. I trust Steve will do the right thing. What's in the best interest of this football club. Let's hope he gets 2 wins, and we're not even talking about it next week. 2 brilliant performances, 6 points. But at the moment, we talk on what we're seeing. It's not good enough. Fact.
Yeah, it's hand in your pocket, not money in your pocket. You put your money in your pocket, you're not spending that, are you? But I see your point. No, but you're absolutely right. Everybody's on the same line now. There's no. Last season it was bedders in. This season there's no excuse. That squad is one of the best in the championship, and I won't have any other words said about it. You know, I won't have anybody disagree with it because it really is. You know what I mean? I can't. I'd probably say there's 2 or 3 more other squads that I'd be saying, yeah, okay, fair enough. You might be a bit better than us, but squad-wise, we're up there. We're up there. That's why I said we'll finish in top 4 for me. You know, you put your head in the line and said top 2. I was happy with 4th. And quite frankly, if we don't get playoffs, it's a massive failure for this club. It really is. But
if we don't make the playoffs, will Michael Carrick be next season?
No,
I don't think he will either.
No. As sad as it is, and this is not a podcast where people are going to tune in and go, look at me, they haven't half ripped into character. They want him gone. We don't want him gone.
No.
It couldn't be further from the truth. You know, we love the guy. You know, we've had the pleasure of being in his company. He's one of the most humble, successful footballers I've ever met. You know, you would never have even thought he was a footballer because he just doesn't care about it. You know, he's just he cares about his job, and at the moment it's not working. But
the bottom line is Gibbo is in charge of our club, and he's given Michael Carrick the tools necessary to make us challenge for top 2, to make us challenge for promotion, and we're falling well short of that at the moment.
Absolutely.
So if come the end of the season, we don't even make the playoffs, I don't think Steve will be happy with that, and we'll see changes.
We're sat here being critical of us not picking up enough points. Does anyone really think Steve Gibson's having meetings with Michael Carrick and saying, yeah, everything's fine? Of course he's not. He's not bland. He's team want the performances the same way. Yeah, he's going in and telling them this isn't good enough, Michael. We need to start picking up points. Of course he is. He's not. He's a true businessman. He's going in there saying exactly the same as what we're saying. We're not being critical for the sake of being critical. We're saying it based on what we're watching. We're just being brutally honest.
You're right.
At the end of the day, John, he's a fan as much as you and I, except he's put a lot more money in than you and I.
Exactly.
And I just hope, I'd like to think that he's not the most animated on the touchline per se, but I just like to hope he's having the same conversation with his squad, sitting them down like on a Monday morning, you know, when they have that meeting to go through the previous game, what we did wrong, what we did right, and just telling them, do you really think that's good enough? Look, for me, you both mentioned it, the moment when all the fans went, the second goal, the amount of people that just walked. I'd have pressed pause on the video then and said, you see how many seats are empty now? Look at all them. We did that. I'd hate that. If someone performing for a crowd and you watch his 10, 15,000 people walk out, that's embarrassing. It's awful. As something in your profession, it's not good enough. So I just hope he's having them conversations as well. He's not as relaxed as he looks, and he knows it's crunch time, and like JD said, it's a massive week. Do I bother asking you if you've got a man of the match for Saturday?
I thought there was two. I thought there was two standout performances. I thought Conway was really good.
Yeah.
But my man of the match was Morris. I thought he was outstanding. I think there'll be clubs looking at him now, because you said earlier about Morris looking at Hackney and been picking things up from him. The way Morris is playing, it'll be the other way around, because he's been our most consistent player all season. I think he's been excellent, absolutely excellent, and he didn't stop on Saturday. Always got time on the ball, which is a sign of a good player. Works really hard, gets around the pitch. I couldn't fault him on Saturday, so I'm giving him man of the match for me by a long way.
They were the two that I were going to highlight as well, because Conway never stopped. He didn't get a great deal of decent service, but he never stopped. Even when the chips were down, he was rushing to get corners taken early. He was just urging people on. But Morris, superb, great performance. It's a shame that he was in a team that lost 3-0, but his ability to sort of turn and leave his opponent flat-footed. It's amazing. He done it about 3 or 4 times against Coventry. A very quick turn, and he's gone his way, and the Coventry players just stood flat-footed. Yeah, he played really well. It's a shame that he was on the losing side.
Yeah, I can't disagree with the two players you brought into it. I thought Conway never stopped. He absolutely worked his socks on socks off, not socks on. For the 70 minutes he was on the pitch.
Yeah, well done, Steve. You criticised him. Sorry, you pulled up. You pulled up John for worked your socks on. Yeah.
All right, pulling them up. All right, I get the deal. But no, he worked his socks off, didn't he, Conway? He worked the channel so brilliantly for a guy up front by himself. But yeah, Aidan Morris. The turn he did was in the first half, and he did a Cruyff turn on one of their midfielders, and I thought, he's just left him for dead. I thought, what a player he is. He's brilliant. I love Aidan Morris. I hope other clubs aren't looking at him, but it's obvious there are, aren't there? You know, it'd be stupid if you didn't think they were. So, but yeah, right. Big week coming. Big week coming. Little stat on the two teams we're about to play. QPR haven't won at home. Luton haven't won away.
Shut up, Steve. Oh, God, no.
Two most depressing stats. It's about 3-1 for the double, by the way. If you want to, I'm not encouraging it. But John Don, you said you're going down to Loftus Road, proper old school ground. I like Loftus Road. Nothing short of 3 points is going to be good enough from this for me. But, and I agree with what Patrick Wheatley's just put, I'm struggling to call these two games, which is really weird. It's
that's the inconsistency of us. you just don't know what you're going to get. We could turn up tomorrow and it might be the team that outplayed Norwich for 70 odd minutes, outplayed Watford for 70 odd minutes, or it could be the team that tripped itself up by making stupid mistakes and giving themselves a mountain to climb. You don't know. So he's right. It is. It's tough to call. But 2-0 Borough.
I was going to say in a couple of minutes I'm about to call it because I have to, but it really is. Just look at the games we played against Stoke this year. We're either going to get one or the other. One where we give away the silly goals, we just look absolutely off it. Or the game where we won 2-0 and we absolutely dominated them 90 minutes. Stoke got absolutely nowhere near us and we looked brilliant all game. Cuts, I'll come to you. Which one are you expecting? Jekyll or Hyde?
To be honest with you, you'll never believe it, judging on the way I've been talking for 50 minutes, but I'm always glass half full, mate. So I'm gonna say we're gonna get the team that I'm expecting tomorrow, the performance that I'm expecting, ones that we've seen in parts this season. So I'm going to go for a 3-0 win and Lattel have to score any time.
Absolutely caned into the club. 3-0.
Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah, your glass was more than half full quite a few times last night, wasn't it, John?
It was more than half empty, you mean?
Tell me.
Right, 2-0 I've said, and I'll go for Tommy Conway, anytime goal scorer.
I mean, Mick's just come up and said, I've said the double for 3-1. Mick's going to pledge a $5 to that for our charity. Have a word with your brother and tell him to behave. I swear to God.
No, that's fair enough. I hope he's right.
So
You hope he's right. That's 2 defeats he's on about. 3-1
Is
the
it?
double
Is
on
it?
them, wasn't it?
yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Let's hope
sorry.
he's
Mick,
wrong then.
Mick, behave yourself.
Dear me. God. 1-1. I know.
Cheers, Dally.
It's all right. No, I'm not going to 1-1. 2-1 Borough. 2-1 Borough. Marcus forced to score any time.
Okay.
Yeah. Marcus Force likes a goal at QPR. Remember his header last year? Something. Cracking header.
Oh, yeah. Very good header.
It's a very good header.
Yeah.
And then go on.
And then have we got Luton? You wanting predictions for Luton?
It'd be helpful. I mean, we can't really talk about it next week if we didn't predict it. So I'll start with you then.
Okay. 2-1. And Hayden Hackney.
Okay. I think we're banned by then, but okay.
Well, he's not playing tomorrow, is he?
It would surprise if he got banned in training. But no, yeah. Cuts, I'll come to you.
2-3-0 wins in a week. And for Saturday, I'm going to go for Matt Clark.
Love Clark.
Clark 3-0.
Clark 3-0. I mean, I'll absolutely back you up and say he was definitely drinking beer last night. There was nothing funny in his drinks. But 4-1 Borough. 4-1 Borough. I think we'll give Luton a good hiding. 4-1 Borough. It mean the end for Rob Edwards, which is such a shame because I actually like the guy. First goal. I'm gonna go Luke Ayling.
Right. Okay. Can you remember our predictions for Coventry? They were in good weather. 3-0, 4-0, and 3-1.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
I bet Simon mentions that on his pod this week.
Wow.
I tell you what, he'll have popped the champagne on the way home, won't he?
Yeah. Timmy Leach just put there was what are you guys drinking? Wow.
To be fair, like I say, we've all said it between ourselves. The fans will be saying it. Like, we've seen what we can do. Sure, I know we keep saying it's a matter of time and it's going to happen. It is. Surely it's going to click before long. And when it does, some teams are going to get a proper humping. Let's hope it's this week. 6 points.
Humping. There you go. And on that,
Six points, and the table looks a lot better, doesn't it?
It puts in the top 6. It puts in the top 6. But quickly, one word answer from the pair here about Tuesday. Does Ben Doak start? Yes or no?
Yes.
I don't think he'll make it.
I think yes. Right, and there you go. Just like that, we're all done. Coach, you can go and lay down now. Rest your head. I'll see you on Saturday. John Don, safe trip to London. West London tomorrow. Bring some points back or don't come back. Hopefully I'll see you on Saturday. And the people that have been contributing, I've been reading all your comments. Thank you so much for coming on. Thank you for liking, subscribing, commenting, contributing. Yeah, without yous, we're just 3 lads. It'll look a bit more dafter with what we're saying because there's no one listening to us. So, yeah. Talk to you again next week. Arrivederci, up the borough. Be seeing you. Cheers.
Thanks, everyone. See you later.
Up the borough.